Hello friends, we're back here at the Wirtz Gallery and I'm getting ready to introduce you to the Surreality collection. This is kind of a transition piece. It may look like surreal art, but it's actually a photograph of a castle in Sintra, and it is such an interesting piece of architecture that it actually looks like some type of surreal art. Very interesting work, very unique architecture. And it definitely is part of the Windows to the World collection to give you a view that very few people will have. Called Castle Walk. It is 40 by 30 inches, a nice size for the wall. Fits in a medium-sized room very nicely. Now I will show you what happens in Sintra when I take my imagination to the surreal. And this was the same castle, different place in the castle in Sintra. And as you can see here, this is very surreal. It's very whimsical. This is 20 by 30 inches. It's a really nice size for any room. Larger rooms, you can put a couple of these together in a group. In a smaller room, child's bedroom works great. People love these whimsical versions for their kids. It gives them a piece of artwork that doesn't feel too adult-like, but yet it definitely has some Salvador Dali-esque notes to it. I'll take you to some more of the Surreality collection. Many of these I'm going to show you now were made on Ocean Drive on Miami Beach in the Art Deco district. I really like this collection. I call this collection that was made on Ocean Drive the Oceana collection. And this kind of has a theme in it that we're not alone. If you look through here, I've left symbolic gestures of other life forms living in and among us. This one's called Sleeper Cell. As you take a close look, you'll notice it looks like some of the people are frozen, like they're asleep and staring into their cell phones, where there's other activity that's going on in here. It kind of gives life and motion to the people. And again, you've got the celestial skies up above, making it kind of a parallel universe, someplace that's Earth-like, but not earthly. And the next one in the collection that we have here, this is also part of the Oceana collection, which is the Oceana series. And this is called Extraordinary Rendition at McAlpine. And that's sort of implies that someone was standing here and they got beamed up and into outer space. And the rest of this feels very surreal and otherworldly, even underwater-like. You'll notice I sometimes place these little star-like figures inside buildings and other places to maybe indicate that that's not a star in the sky. That could be an alien creature living among us, a spiritual being that shares this space with us. In this collection over here, this has been curated for display at Art Basel. This is called Termination at Central Park. This has a really interesting story. If you look at it closely, there's a story that's in this picture. You have this gangster car that's out front, and you've got this guy standing up front, and you have this window up here, and the whole hotel is dark. So it looks like someone is waiting for someone to do some type of a crime, and then the getaway car is here, and it kind of echoes the feel of the Godfather movie, which is where this car came from. It's no longer, that car is no longer there. Someone one night was drunk and ran into it, and it was never again. Well, you're not on an acid trip, but you could certainly feel like you might be hallucinating a little bit. And I wouldn't know about smoking crack, never did it, but this is from the Americas collection, and this is shot on Columbia Circle in New York City. And I call it Columbia because it's kind of thinks of an alternate world where the Columbia spacecraft, which blew up, comes back to Earth, but it's not quite the same place that they left. And this represents the Columbia aircraft coming in, and instead of igniting on landing, they come in, but it's a different world. All right, this one here, also from New York City. This is a public art piece called The Vessel. And of course, this angle and the surreal effects to it make it look like it's maybe melting as some type of a radar dish. I call this one Quantum Concentrator, as it seems to be searching deep space for some quantum type of information, something from the extraterrestrial. This piece is a beautiful Salvador Dali-esque picture. I've titled it "We Are Not Alone" because this really truly represents a point where we're in a different world. We're a parallel world. This was photographed in Morocco. It was a building that was dilapidated. And when I saw it, I felt something of Salvador Dali. And when I got back into the digital darkroom, it didn't quite have enough feeling to it. So I decided to push the limits, drag, push, squeeze, and bend all of the geometry in here to make it much more surreal and abstract in form. And to me, this very much speaks of a Salvador Dali style that I've been influenced by. Bring it in a little closer to see some of the details here. This is an interesting detail up here, kind of a face that's squeezed out of the corner. We've got these interesting shapes. If you'll notice over here, these again are the stars in the wrong spot, possibly representing foreign alien life forms. And over here, this kind of melting drop is very Salvador Dali-ish, very, very much like a Salvador Dali style. And this up here almost looks like an Egyptian sphinx. So I really like this piece. It really speaks to me every night. I have it in a very prominent place in my house. The next piece I'm going to show is called Cognitive Dissonance. And I kind of did this as a response to our political world where people see things, they hear things, they say things, but it doesn't align with reality. And to me, this image I'm going to show you does that exactly. It doesn't align with reality. It kind of makes you see things in a way that you believe you know what it is. It may feel like you've been there. You could have been there, but the way it all comes together is very fantasy-like. This is a large piece. I love it. 30 by 50 inches. Makes a really nice statement. And you can kind of feel drawn into this by the mystical nature of the zebras, the woman's face looking up here, the Milky Way galaxy, and this woman here, it seems to be releasing some type of a spiritual star. And the flowers here in the foreground just bring us back to reality. It's a great color palette. It just really blends in nice. It's got mostly warm tones, but enough cool tones that that can fit into any decor. Okay, next one here